Okay, we're back with AFC South draft analysis, and we have the Indianapolis Colts now as they finished in third place in the AFC South this last year. And with their first pick in the draft, which wasn't until the second round, 34th overall, they chose Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver from USC, who is a stud. And it is a very good pick for a weaker wide receiver core team in the NFL. I gave the pick an A-. It's an absolute need for the Indianapolis Colts. And I think Pittman, I think I don't know if he's going to take over number one responsibilities immediately, but I think over time he could definitely become somebody who's very reliable and a consistent force in the NFL. He was a good receiver at USC. He had a remarkable last season, senior season, given the fact that he had multiple quarterbacks throughout the year. Anything from a second to fourth string thrown it to him after their first string got injured week 1. So he ended up with 101 catches for 1,275 yards and 11 touchdowns. Very impressive. He's even more physically impressive at 6'4", 223 pounds. He's very tough to deal with. And he's just a very reliable target. He makes the catches. He runs his routes. I think his ball carrying abilities after the catch need to improve a bit, and they'll develop more, and that'll make him more of a threat. But I think possession wide receiver wise, right now he's already where you would want someone to be as a possession receiver. So very reliable right now, and over time I think he could develop and become even better and a more dominant playmaking force in the league. Good pick for Indianapolis, which takes us to their next second-round pick, Jonathan Taylor, running back from Wisconsin. Very good pick again, B+ from me. And when you talk about Jonathan Taylor, you just can't ignore the fact that he's an athletic beast. He's fast. He's strong. He needs a little bit of grooming, running the football wise. I think his football IQ is going to get better and better as he goes. He has had a lot of experience in terms of carries and attempts and yardage, which is one of the bigger fears, as he had 926 carries in college football with 6,174 yards. So it's a lot of mileage under him, and you question the durability moving forward. However, he's such a good athlete. I think he takes care of himself well. I think Indianapolis will at least get a decent amount of quality years out of him. And I think, just like I said, as his football IQ gets better and his receiving abilities get a little bit better, and he can work on not turning the ball over, not fumbling as much, I think he could be pretty decent. I'm not sure Marlon Mack what his situation is, but I think Jonathan Taylor could definitely become a starting running back in this league by the end of this year. So, good pick. I gave it another B+. Two good additions to the offense, two good weapons that will help Phillip Rivers in what may be his last season in the NFL. In the third round, 85th overall, they picked Julian Blackmon, a safety out of Utah. I gave it a B+ because it's definitely a need. However, Blackmon, he's not, I wouldn't say he's pro-ready completely yet. He did have 9 interceptions, 20 pass deflected, which is appealing. As a safety, he's gotten better over time. I think they switched him from corner to safety. He can cover tight ends very well. He helps out in the run support very well. So I think once his route and ball perceptions get a little bit better, and his ability to read the quarterback, I think he will too. I think it's going to help him in his coverage and then more so in his ability to close on the football. And so once he develops that, he'll be a more sound safety, but he's already got a few of the necessary traits you want to see, so he's not a complete developmental piece, just a few things to work on, and most of them come with experience. So, again, I think he's got the ability to become a good starter in this league, and so far, it's a good pick, another good pick by Indianapolis with their third rounder, which moves to their fourth round, 122nd overall pick, Jacob Eason, quarterback out of Washington. I gave it an A-. Eason has good size. He's pro-style knowledge. He's not very polished. He still has to prove himself a little bit. His arm can seem a bit weak sometimes. His poise is a bit weak sometimes. And by weak arm, I mean accuracy more so than strength. And so athletically, nothing special there either. In the pocket, seems a little uncomfortable sometimes. However, I think he's got some of the necessary intangibles and skills a quarterback needs. I think you tie that, and hopefully Phillip Rivers can show him a few of the reins that it takes to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. The thing I like about this pick is that he's probably not going to play this year in the NFL. He's going to have time to sit back, develop under Phillip Rivers, and I think with a non-rush approach to his career, maybe they get a second year out of Phillip Rivers. It gives Eason time to develop, and you never know what can happen after that. So I think Eason definitely has potential. Will it be met? Will he fulfill it? I'm not sure, but I like where it's going, and I like the situation. They're not going to leave themselves blind to when they don't have a quarterback, then draft one. And so it's good to draft one now, coach him up, and get him ready for the NFL. I think it was a good pick. Then they had a 5th round, 149th pick, Danny Pinter, guard out of Ball State. I gave it a B-, partly because of Quentin Nelson, and I'll explain that, because I think Pinter has maybe some potential. His size is very athletic for a lineman, but he has poor technique, poor footwork, which is where I think Quentin Nelson could come in, help him out. Both play guard. So if Nelson is a good teacher and Pinter's a good listener, he could develop even quicker than it might take, which will help him stay in the NFL and develop the necessary skills. He was a tight end that did convert to O-line, which explains the athletic abilities. But again, with Quentin Nelson, hopefully the development goes more smoothly, and I think he could be a decent, at the least, backup moving forward in the NFL. So decent pick in the 5th round for Indianapolis with Danny Pinter. I gave it a B-. And round 6, 193rd overall was their last pick, and they picked Rob Windsor, defensive tackle out of Penn State. Less of a fan of this one. I gave it a D-. He's too undersized, and he's not effective enough. He's not consistent enough as a pass rusher, so I don't think his effort has been questioned on the field. So he doesn't always give you everything you know or expect him to give you. And I would say unless he gains anywhere from 15 to 25 pounds of muscle and improve his technique, he's definitely not going to make it. But even the size, if he doesn't gain a little bit more strength, I think it's going to be very hard for him to play in the NFL. So for that, I gave the Colts a... Oh, that's my bad. That was not their last pick. They had four 6th round picks, so that's my bad. So that was not their last pick. We'll move forward to their 211th pick, Isaiah Rodgers, cornerback at a University of Massachusetts. I gave it a B. Rodgers to me at 5'10", 170 is a little small, a little slender, but he's a ball hawk. He finds the ball very well. He has good closing speed. He could do kick and punt return responsibilities, and his football IQ is pretty decent. So I think if Rodgers can make a smooth transition from the outside into slot, he's not going to be, doesn't have the size to play outside corner anymore, and he could prove himself in the run support, then I think he could become NFL starter or NFL backup at slot corner. He's got the football intangibles and IQ. The question is now whether or not he can make the transition. Round 6, 212th pick. They picked Desmond Patman, wide receiver out of Washington State. I gave it a B+. I like the size. He's 6'4", 225. He's got some potential there. His confidence has been shaky at times, which has been one of the concerns. I think he needs to learn how to use his size, which Pittman and him will be on the same boat together there, and they can help each other. So he needs to learn to use his size and speed, especially during the route running, before, during, and after the ball has been thrown. And then I think he could become a more solid wide receiver, maybe a number 4, number 3 kind of guy. And it's a good pick for me in the 6th round. I gave it a B+. And their last pick in the draft, and this one was their last pick, it was a 6th round, 213th overall, Jordan Glasgow, linebacker out of Michigan. I gave it an F because although I appreciated Jordan's energy on the field while he was at Michigan, his coverage is not very good, especially for a linebacker, so you can't put him at safety either. He's not going to be an edge linebacker, so the coverage is going to be a problem. I think he's a very smart guy, and I can't see him sticking around football. He's just too small, too undersized, in my opinion, to make it at the NFL level. I gave it an F. I don't see very much potential for Glasgow, but he's got a good head on his shoulders and plays with good energy, so maybe if he's determined and he wants to stick with it in the NFL level, you never know what could happen, but I don't think that it's going to go very well, and I think eventually he'll leave and do something else. He's a very smart, talented man. So I gave that one an F because, in my opinion, it was a mistake. And overall, I gave the Colts a B. They had some very solid drafting. They did very well even in the later rounds. They drafted guys with potential. But due to the lack of a first-round pick and maybe a grand slam swing, Pittman, very good pick, and Taylor, very good pick. Outside of that, there weren't too many boom picks. There were definitely some developmental pieces. I'm not sure how fully they address their needs on defense. Again, that's a lot of developmental pieces, so it really kind of depends on how they develop. So for that reason, I gave it a B. It could be a B+ or an A- when it's all said and done. But after, just on paper, I had to give it a B, which tied them again for first in the AFC South with the Jaguars and the Titans. And coming up next, I will be doing the Titans draft analysis, so stay tuned, and thank you for watching.